I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Mitrice Richardson, who is a 24-year-old who went missing September 17th, 2009 from Malibu, California, after being released from jail. Mitrice Richardson was born April the 30th, 1985. Today is September the 26th, 2025. Mitrice Richardson has not been seen or found since. Her body, however, was found. So this reading is going to be to tune in to what happened to her because they claim it wasn't murder. And we're going to find the killer. Okay? So, September the 17th, 2009 was the last day she was seen. August of 2010, the following year, was when her body was found in Dark Canyon. Okay, so let's talk about it. Mitrice Richardson grew up in Covina, California with her mother and her stepfather. She moved to LA with her grandmother to pursue her teaching career. She worked as a clerk at a shipping company and a side dancer at a local LGBTQ strip club. So, of course, she was in that lifestyle, the LGBTQ. She had a very interesting love life. I've heard stories because I've looked at a few podcasts on Mitrice Richardson. And I take information from here, from there, put it together, and because I just want to be able to tune into the whole energy of this Mitrice Richardson case. Okay, because that's necessary in me pulling cards. I'm an oracle. So the more information I have on an individual, of course, the deeper I can go into the energy and the more accurate the readings. So, however, I am a high-ranking oracle. So I don't need a lot of information. I know how to pull from the most minimum information I have. If you was to tell me that your daughter was last wearing a yellow shirt and tell me what area she went missing from on the last day you seen her, I'll be able to locate her. So Mitrice Richardson's love story was very interesting, involved numerous women, but she had broke it off with one woman and she started pursuing this other woman named Vanessa. Now, Vanessa wasn't feeling Mitrice the way Mitrice was feeling Vanessa. So Mitrice was kind of like was giving stalker vibes. Like she would show up at Vanessa's whereabouts and locations, and Vanessa kept telling her, stay away from me. So on one particular situation, leading up to her disappearance, Mitrice Richardson pulled up to a restaurant in Malibu, California, where she went to get something to eat, and apparently she told valet, have you heard much? Okay, her behavior was weird ever since she pulled up, according to valet. Okay, like she was in his car, looking at CDs and all types of things, and she was telling valet, have you seen Vanessa? I believe that's the name. Don't quote me on the name of the girlfriend, but I believe it's Vanessa. But if you go search Mitrice Richardson, you'll see everybody that has information on her case. And I'm quite sure you'll hear about Vanessa. So she asked valet, have you heard from Vanessa? And, they was like, no. So anyway, she went in the restaurant. Apparently, she must have known that there were some people that are at that restaurant that she knows. So she started sitting with this group. There was a group of people that she went over to their table. It was a group of like 7 people. While she was eating herself, she went over there and she started talking. She opened up a conversation with this group of 7 people talking about astrology. And now about this astrology thing, and I always want to clear this up because I'm an astrologer and I'm an oracle. Okay, and I am a high-ranking oracle. So I do get a lot of cases where people that tap into astrological energies and informations in the whole astrological world of understanding, they become very psychotic people that get themselves caught up in a lot of weird cases, stalker cases, because what happens is astrology is the science of energy. Okay, it is the science of energy, and for some people should never have access to that information. Okay, because everybody is not mature enough to be able to utilize that information for what it's actually utilized for. Some people have trauma, and some people are still in the lower vibrations, and you give them a certain kind of power because knowledge is power. And when you give certain people knowledge, it taps them into power. And if they are not healthy, they're not going to use that power correctly. Me having all the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding I have of a lot of spiritual sciences, not just astrology, I'm here to help. Okay? Because I don't want that smoke. I'm not here to do anything with all that I understand and all this power that I have to do anything other than be of service to humanity. I'm not using this power because astrology can tap you into powers and forces that you understand that other people might not understand that. Like if you ask a person their sign and they say, "Oh, I'm Aries," and let's say you're an astrologer and you actually understand Aries energy and you know their chart, and now you know how to approach this person from an angle of what you understand about the energies that they carry, and they're totally unconscious of these energies. So me being the astrologer, I have the upper hand in some form of fashion, and I can manipulate energies. If I say, okay, well, her moon is here and his moon is there, or whatever you are, and I feel like there are people who understand this knowledge who are not ready to walk in that type of power because they still have some game in them. They still have some vengeance in them. They haven't healed. You got to heal your shadows. This is a science that was not exposed to everybody back in the ancient days. Okay, you had to reach a certain degree of spiritual evolution before you can start understanding these forces. You had to be ready to teach. You had to be ready to live by example. You had to be ready to heal. You had to be ready to resurrect. But in order for that, you had to have reached a degree of healing, resurrection, shadow work. Okay? You cannot just be out here in the 3D world, you all outside with all this astrological knowledge, and now you're going around hunting and lurking for people and preying on their energies and controlling them and manipulating them because you know what sign they are. And I'm not saying that this was Mitrice Richardson's lifestyle. What I'm saying is because this astrology conversation comes up, obviously she understood some aspect of astrology. I did a reading on somebody else. I got her face in my head. It was the girl who went missing from, I think it was North Carolina. She was another one who was into astrology. If you look on my channel, it's something, the girl, she had like blue hair. I forget her name, but I'm looking right at her face in my head. But she was into astrology. And in fact, I think I did a part 1 and a part 2 on her case. So go look at that. You'll see that on my channel because I only did 2 videos on my channel. I do remember that where I did a part 1 to part 2. The first part 1 and part 2 video I did was about the twins in the North Georgia mountains that were found dead in the mountains. And then the second one was this girl. I forget her name. But you'll see it when you go to my channel. However, back to Mitrice Richardson. okay, with her astrological knowledge. And get this, because this astrological knowledge goes in depth, okay, according to her weird behaviors. So that conversation took place. Then she decided she wanted to leave the restaurant, but her bill wasn't paid. So when they approached her, the restaurant staff approached her and was like, look, you got this bill. She told the restaurant staff, oh, I thought that the group I was with, of those 7 people, I thought they were going to pay it. I guess she was playing it off like she was with those people. What I really believe happened was that she was out there trying to stalk Vanessa. She was trying to get back with Vanessa. And whether Vanessa was at that restaurant or not, she knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that knew Vanessa. And Mitrice knew that that somebody was at that restaurant. And I believe that somebody was a part of that group. That's just my speculation of that whole situation. Because I feel like Mitrice was out to get her some Vanessa. Whatever she understood about Vanessa, it did not keep her away from Vanessa. Vanessa did not want her. But I heard that she kept pursuing Vanessa. So I'm assuming that's why she was at that restaurant. So they went through this whole back and forth thing with trying to get Mitrice to pay this bill. The bill was $89 and change. And she was trying to get out from paying it. She told the restaurant manager, and I'm not laughing because it's a laughing matter. It's just, you'll see. She told the restaurant manager she's from Mars. She told the restaurant manager she's from Mars and she'll pay the bill with sex. So right off the rip, you know something going on. Okay? So, but this is what I'm talking about, how certain knowledge should never be put in certain people's hands. You know, this is not something you play with. You know, people's lives, that people, if they really understood this knowledge, there are people that would really fix every aspect of their life like I did. These are the people, we are the people who the knowledge belongs to because we know what to do with it. Okay? You best believe I fixed my entire life. And I put that on my life before I decided to come on these platforms and start to distribute and expose this knowledge. I fixed my entire life. You know I just did. You can go and look at my first video. Everybody that followed me, you know, and some of y'all know my story and some of y'all don't, but you know I didn't just come on here and just automatically learn astrology and oracle yesterday and I came on here today to make my first video. You can tell through my readings and my videos. I'm not a spring chicken when it comes to this knowledge. I fixed my entire life with this knowledge. I've healed sicknesses with this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding within my own body, my own mind, my own spirit. I've overcome addictions with this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I've recovered from drugs, alcoholism, lusts. I've conquered demons with this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I took this knowledge and went deep into my soul and uprooted curses from the root, where I used to just cut things off the surface and pat down the dirt until I started to catch on to the reason why the same shit kept growing all over again. Why does shit keep growing? Something told me you got to go down to the root of the problem. This knowledge, wisdom, and understanding helped me get to the root of all my problems. I uprooted them things and planted new seeds. Pat down the dirt so that way when the storm comes, the subconscious part of me that embraces the storm will grow a new thing, a new life. And here I am today. But let's get back to Mitrice Richardson, because I don't believe that she understood this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding like we do. Because that's what it's for. We're here to fix ourselves. So that way we could be of service in helping fix others. So she claimed she was from Mars. That was a red flag for the restaurant. That'll be a red flag for anybody. She paid the bill with sex. So of course they took her to jail. They was trying not to take her to jail. They was hoping she was all right. They was trying to straighten out her mindset, hoping that she was all right. It didn't work. She even claimed she can call her great grandmother. Her grandmother, her great grandmother, I think it was her great grandmother, Mildred. And Mildred will pay the bill. They got in touch with Mildred. And Mildred did make an attempt to pay the bill, but the restaurant didn't accept it because they needed a signature. So they ended up taking Mitrice to jail. More so, like they say, for her safety, because they didn't want her to get back in her vehicle because she was not fit. The type of mental condition she was in, they did not want her on the road. They found joints on her, marijuana joints in her pockets and stuff like that. I don't think they confirmed that she was on drugs, but they found the joints. So that's it for that. She was released from jail 12 o'clock midnight a.m. September 17, 2009. Okay? When she was released from jail, she was never seen again. She was never seen again. And all of that happened within that same day or same 2 days. Of course, at midnight, they said businesses were closed. There was no buses or trains leading from the jail to, She wasn't seen ever since September 17, 2009, being released from jail. Her body was found the following year, August of 2010, in Dark Canyon. Mind you, they searched Dark Canyon in 2009 in September when she went missing, but they didn't find her body. Let's talk about it. I have Mitrice's planetary alignments the day she was born and the planetary alignments of when she disappeared. Mitrice Richardson was born April 30th, 1985. The sun was in Taurus and the moon was in Virgo. And y'all know how I formulate time. Time is the sun divided by moon cycles. So when a Virgo moon is in Taurus's house, which is the second house, Leo is rising. The romance, pleasure energy in us. Leo. Okay? Now, Mitrice's birth chart is a Leo rising chart. She has a fifth house chart. The fifth house is about romance. Romance, creativity, pleasure, theatrics, just the whole good life. We all have Leo energy in us. But people who have a Leo rising birth chart, their whole life is centered around the pleasure aspect of existence. Okay? So she was pursuing her fun, her pleasures, her romance, interests, and all of that. Her life was surrounded by all of that. Now let's look at what was going on the day she disappeared and let's see what comes first. Because that'll let us know where to start when it comes to her investigation. So Mitrice Richardson disappeared September 17th, 2009. The sun was in Virgo and the moon was in Virgo. A new moon. When the sun and the moon is in the same sign, that is a new moon. And it's no coincidence that Mitrice's moon also is in Virgo. Because remember, she did understand some aspect of astrology. So I'm quite sure during that new moon, she knew it was a new moon. So whatever move she made when she got out of jail was probably lined up with her understanding of the new moon. So when the sun is in Virgo and the moon is in Virgo, this is a Aries rising chart. This is a new moon chart because the sun and the moon is in Virgo. So the moon in Virgo is in Virgo's house. Every sign is at home in its own house. So Aries comes first. Aries is ruled by Mars. She did say she was from Mars, but she didn't know. that September 17th, 2009, she was going to disappear. And Supreme, a high-ranking oracle, was going to conjure up that chart and it was going to say Aries rising. She didn't know that. She didn't know I'm here. So let's follow Miss Mars. Because Aries rules Mars. And why is Aries coming first? Let's look at where Aries was in her birth chart. Aries in Mitrice's birth chart is in the 9th house. That is the house of journeys, travels, the woods. This is the house of mountains. This is the house of foreigners as well. Long distance travel, flight travel. This is travel outside the country. We know she didn't do that. Her body was found in Dark Canyon. That is a 9th house place. Mountains, canyons, valleys. That's 9th house. So her body, Aries rules the body. Her body, that's where her body was found. So let's follow to see how her body got there. Okay? How did her body get there? Well, look at where the 9th house is. Look what's in the 9th house the day she disappeared, Sagittarius. Now let's find out how her body got there. Where was Sagittarius at in her birth chart? In the 5th house. And this is a 5th house chart. Pursuing her romance. Sagittarius rules the 9th house. That's Sagittarius' house. She was pursuing her romance. Shit didn't go the way she wanted it to. I feel like it never did. Especially when you want somebody that don't want you. And I'm not saying that she was in pursuit of Vanessa and that's how she ended up dead. But I do know, you see it for yourself. She was in pursuit of one of her romantic interests. 5th house. This is a 5th house chart because Leo is rising. Leo is the 5th house of the zodiac. In the 5th house, you see Sagittarius. Now, where's Mars at? Let's follow Mars. Miss Mars. Let's follow her. Mars was in Cancer the day Mitrice disappeared. Where is Cancer? Cancer is at home in its own house, the 4th house. Okay? So, this means that this was in pursuit of home. She was trying to get home, which I believe. I do believe that. Whatever happened to her, it happened to her. She was trying to get home. This is home, the mother. Where was the moon? Because the moon rules Cancer, and the moon will help us understand what she went through to get home. The moon that day, remember it was a new moon and it was in Virgo. The sun and the moon was in Virgo. This is the house of help. This is the house of work. Somebody that was helping her get home. Where was Mercury? Let's find out what happened. Mercury was also in Virgo. Help. Work. This was somebody that was either from that restaurant that was helping her get home, because the restaurant wasn't far from, I think it was like 8 miles from where her body was found. But somebody was helping her get home. This was a worker that was helping her get home. And this worker may have been a trucker. May have, may not have. That's just something I'm throwing out there because the 9th house is also the house of travel, long distance travel. And then when Virgo energy is prominent, this most likely was a trucker that was helping her get home. In the house of death, Scorpio is there, which is Scorpio's house. So let's see what was in the house of death the day Mitrice was born. In her birth chart, you see Pisces. That is the hidden. Okay? Now, where was Pisces at the day Mitrice disappeared? So we can connect the dots to see whether she's dead. Pisces is at home in the hidden. This is somebody she didn't know. The person that did this to her, the person that killed her, because we know she's dead. The person that killed her, she didn't know them. She didn't know who killed her. Where was Neptune? because Neptune rules Pisces. Neptune was in Aquarius. Where was Aquarius at the day she disappeared? Right there in the 11th house of individuals. Aquarius is at home. This is an individual, a stranger that she met. This is a stranger that she met. And this is also somebody that she was fucking around with too. Because look at Leo right there at home in the 5th house, right there at home in its own energy of romance, pleasure, creativity, fun, games, sex, playful sex. That's what came first in her chart. That's what she put first. So the day she disappeared, that very energy was at home in its own house. Everything came natural. And it led up to her death. Where was Pluto at? Because Pluto rules Scorpio. Pluto was in Capricorn. And Capricorn is right here in the 10th house. This is the house of law enforcement. Capricorn in its own house, this is a law enforcement. Somebody in a position of authority. Could law enforcement have been involved? Because that's what I see. Law enforcement in its own house. Capricorn is law enforcement, the father figure, the authority figure, the boss. But it's in the house of father figures. It's in the house of law enforcement and the bosses. So the ideal Capricorn energy in the 10th house is the police, law enforcement. Now, where was Saturn at? So we can follow what kind of authority figure this was. Saturn that day, was in Virgo too. Yeah, this was a law enforcement. This was a worker at the station. Probably this is a worker, somebody that was helping her that worked at the facility that she got released from. Because remember, she couldn't get home. You see it for yourself. This is a worker, somebody that was helping her. This worker is from the police station that was helping her get home. Let's pull a planet. This doesn't have to be a long reading, but I just want to pull another chart to confirm, because she's already dead, so we ain't got to lost and found her body. Okay? But we just trying to find out what happened. Who's responsible? Clearly, we can see by the time she was born and the time that she disappeared, I was able to locate who is most likely responsible for her disappearance and her death. So let's confirm this. This chart is going to take us out. What happened to you, Mitrice Richardson? What happened to Mitrice Richardson when she got released from jail? Who's responsible and what happened when she got released from jail? Let's do this again. Let's hold up. Let's do it again. Because when numerous cards pop out like that, I'm moving too fast. What happened, Mitrice Richardson? What happened, Mitrice Richardson, when you got released from jail? Who is responsible for your disappearance and your death? The sun in the 6th house. That 6th house again, help. The person that was helping her. The sun was in Virgo. Same chart. Same chart. We're done. Same chart. We are done. That's who did it. We're done. We're done. Look at that. And the sun was in Virgo the day she disappeared. This is where the sun was. The sun, the moon, Mercury, and Saturn. The employee at the police station, somebody at that police station, they know it. We're done. I'm not pulling any more cards. We're done. We're done. Rest in peace. I'm going to make sure y'all can see this. Rest in peace to Mitrice Richardson. Law enforcement is responsible. They know exactly what happened to her. Case closed. Share this video. Like this video. Hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop these investigations. And if you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows Mitrice Richardson's family, share this video with them. Y'all be blessed.